Hello, I'm Bud Frabel, Sales and Engineering, Midpoint Bearing. Today we will discuss calibration. A few years back, I was walking a shop floor, and the operations manager was pointing out all the updates and modifications they recently completed on their shop. Their pride and joy was a lathe they recently acquired. I was told no expense was spared. They cut a new section of concrete to buffer the surrounding vibrations. It was balanced. It was a thing of beauty. I noticed that all the tools appeared to be in great condition, and then I looked a little closer, and I noticed that the tools were overdue for calibration. My mind began to race as I pondered, how do I bring this up without sounding mean? But it needed to be said. I know your lathe will make parts exactly how you set them up, but how do you know your setup is correct with uncalibrated tools? Calibration is the confirmation that a device is adjusted to measure an accurate and an exact way. I know many companies are familiar with quality management systems such as IATF or TS 16949, which is the automotive standard, or ISO 9001, which is the industrial component. Both give clear guidelines on calibration. They point out that an organization needs to identify what tools and how often that records need to be maintained. Looking more specifically into our industry, you will find that Electrical Apparatus Service Association, ESA, and many other major bearing manufacturers such as SKF, Schaeffler, Koyo, and Nachi offer certificate programs or training that stress the importance of calibration. In the bearing world, we deal with thousandths of an inch or millimeters. In failure analysis, one of the first questions application engineers are trained to ask is, what were your shaft and housing fits? Followed by, were your tools calibrated? If tools are not calibrated, it becomes impossible to discuss true measurements. We are now discussing opinions of a measurement. Calibration has been around since the early days of trade. It was a rational way of determining value of what you are trading based on weight or length. Imagine if you were a trader of gold and silver and your buyer's scale was off by 1/100th of an ounce. Over time, this small amount could result in a large sum of money. Translate this to our equipment. Each component has a required tolerance. When you start stacking tolerances, one or two components being off by just a little can result in equipment failure or extended downtime. The accuracy and capabilities of your measuring device has no validity unless the tools are calibrated. It is important that you determine which tools need to be calibrated and set up a system that ensures tools are maintained and kept up to date. All primary tools need to be precise and accurate because we all know close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions or comments at bud@midpointbearing.com, and to learn more about Midpoint Bearing, visit us at midpointbearing.com. Thank you for watching. Midpoint Bearing, your distributor partner. Knowledge through experience.